Welcome to another episode of Spooktober Cinema. This time we're talking about The Beast with Five Fingers, starring Peter Lorre from 1946. Matt had never seen this before. I saw it a few years ago, and Matt's never going to be the same.
No, it's hilarious. It plays itself so seriously, and it's something that you can't take seriously because it's a terrible movie. I'm not gonna hold, if you're in suspense wondering, did they like it? It's enjoyable to the fact that you can make fun of it so easily because of how it's set up. Like, it takes place in Italy.
Yeah.
The film.
Yeah. And the way it opens up showing you like a generic Italian village, and it says that this is where things may have happened. They don't even come out and say that this actually happened. They say it could have happened. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's an interesting way to start your film.
Yeah.
So basically...
Yeah, it goes into where the villa is. There's like this American couple that came there, and they're like, oh, they went to this fucking little, bistro thing, and they're like, oh, we're gonna get some sandwiches. And then we meet our, main protagonist, I guess, or one of.
Yeah. Bruce Conrad.
Bruce Conrad, the most Italian name I've ever heard. He just walks up, he's like, oh, no, you do not want the salami sandwich. You get the cheese. I know, I've eaten here so many times, the cheese is the best. And they're like, okay. And they're like, get cheese and coffee. I'm like, fucking, mwah. I know when I eat a cheese sandwich, I want fucking hot coffee with it.
Italian cheese sandwich.
So he just invites himself to their table. He orders a cognac and sells them fake antiques.
Yeah, he's a con artist, or at least
they wanted you to think that in the first 2 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And then we meet Commissario.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the guy's actual name because I think that all they called him was the Commissario. I don't think they call him by an actual name.
Maybe like Rodrigo or something like that.
Maybe. Not that it's important.
No.
So we meet that character because he's just like, oh, about selling antiques in public, you need a permit. And he's like, oh, but I did not to sell antiques. And he just lets him go. He's like, oh, you conned tourists. I good for you. Have a nice day. And straight from there, then we see Italian Vincent Price.
We meet Francis Ingram.
Yeah.
Once again, another Italian name.
Yeah.
They really went out of their way to have Italian names.
Very authentic Italian names. We see him playing the piano. Now he had a stroke or something, I assume.
Yeah.
The right side of his body, he can't use it. So he's got one good hand. He's playing the piano with his one good hand. Meanwhile, his in-home care nurse is just sitting there staring off into space, not being excited in the slightest that he's playing this song on the piano. And, then Conrad just walks in.
Yeah.
And it's dinner time. It kind of transitions real quick.
Well, he walks in, they have a conversation, and then I guess they play chess a lot.
Yeah.
And you start to learn that there's a relationship with these two beyond them just being friends. You eventually learn that after Ingram had the stroke, Conrad wrote him a musical score specifically to be played one-handed.
And you find that out kind of way later. And it comes up abruptly, too. Because, the whole time you're like, oh, this guy's a fucking sleazebag, con artist. And then, the Julie... the home care nurse, she's talking to him outside, and it just comes up and she's like, I knew that was you that wrote that. It was your beautiful composing. He's just like, yes, it was me. I was just like, wait, now you're a brilliant pianist? What?
You're just selling fake antiques to American tourists. What? Who are you?
I'm like, back in the 40s, if you were a brilliant pianist, you could probably make a good living just doing that alone. And you're able to compose these brilliant sonnets for fucking one-handed men, and you're fucking selling fake antiques. But he's like, yeah, that was me. Does that get me in those nurse pants of yours?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious from the get-go that their characters are set up to get together.
And it's really funny, what's his name? The guy in the wheelchair.
Francis.
Yeah,
Ingram.
I've told you. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm horrible with remembering people's names in movies. So Francis, that's one, the thing that I love is, they go to wheel him away and you see like the most awkward wheelchair. He's like sitting in like this wicker tub and it's like, he has to steer it with his one good hand while somebody else pushes it. And I'm like, why would you want...
It's like a pedal car.
Yeah. I'm like, why would you want this wheelchair?
Maybe that was state of the art for when this was supposed to be taking place. Because it's supposed to take place in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, so it might be. Yeah. So then we go to the dinner scene, which I love because you get introduced to a character you haven't seen yet. Mm-hmm. And everybody acts like they've known this guy for years. It was like his lawyer or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there like chowing down. Like he's not even talking to anybody. He's just like, yeah, Duprex.
Yeah.
And, basically he's the, Rosario? Yeah. No. What? Help me?
Francis.
Yes. God damn it.
He brings all of them there.
He brings all of them there and he's like, I need you to answer me this one question. He's like, Conrad, do I have a donkey brains? He doesn't say it like that, but he's like asking if he's crazy. Yeah. And then Conrad's just like, well, I think of you as everybody else thinks of me in public is that you are very eccentric. He's just like, that answers to nothing for me. Duprex, my loved lawyer. How do you think of me? And he's just like, I don't think you're nuts. It's like, that's good enough for me. Everybody come up and sign my new will I just made last night.
Yeah, that was essentially it. He basically wanted them all there so he could, he could write a new will. And,
he needed public testament that he wasn't crazy.
Not crazy, yeah.
So, that happens. And, what happens after that, Will?
So, then that night, Julie gets him into bed and
this is like my favorite part of the whole film.
He wakes up because there's a storm outside and the window's open and it's just
Julie, you left the fucking window open. Julie! So then
he decides to get out of bed and get in the wheelchair.
Using the legs he's not supposed to be able to use.
You would think he's going to go over and close the window.
No.
He goes himself out of the room, into the hallway, screaming for Julie.
Yeah, he's at the top landing of the staircase, which he then looks down at his piano, and then it's like that, when they have in movies and stuff, like somebody's imagining something or there's like a flashback, it does like that watery effect
like
of the
wavy
screen.
Distortion kind of thing.
So he's like looking down and it's like, Julie, piano's having a flashback. Oh no, now it's coming up the stairs. And he looks behind him and is like, now it's in the hallway. And then all of a sudden, he forgets he has this like bowed staircase and just goes down it.
Yeah, and he goes down the stairs hard.
It's the funniest thing because it's a real fucking guy in this wheelchair. And you can tell that stunt didn't go the way they wanted it to. Because, like, he literally, like, that wheelchair goes, it bounces him up out, and he just rides it with his ass the rest of the way down.
Matt is just howling when this scene happens.
It was great. It was fucking great. So, he finds his final resting place at the bottom of the stairs, on his back, straight as an arrow.
Yeah.
That was the other thing I thought was great. So then it cuts to the next day, and everybody's coming to have mourning, like, for his death. And I made the joke, I was like, this guy's so rich that even when he dies, he's gonna get buried on a full-size bed. He's just, like, laying on this huge fucking tablet, But, Commissario goes into a room with Conrad, and he's just like, they were talking about something that really had nothing to do with anything. Conrad's just like, here, have some of his whiskey. I do it all the time. It's like, I've made a good living off of his great gestures, his food and wine.
Taking his money.
Taking advantage of him. Oh my God.
So then we get introduced to Ingram's only living relatives.
The Americans that live in England.
His brother-in-law and his nephew.
Yeah, and that's how they introduce themselves. Like, we're his nephew and brother-in-law. We're Americans that live in England. It's just like, oh, good. Do I need a translator?
And they are portrayed as greedy bastards. Like, they're going to take all these antiques and stuff and sell them.
Oh, but you forgot. They're gonna take my books.
Yeah. So Peter Lorre, who plays his character named Hillary,
he's the best in this.
Oh
my god,
steals the show many times over.
Yeah.
But he is obsessed with this collection of books where he's basically what he's trying to do, and they don't go into a ton of detail with it, but he's trying to determine that you can predict the future by looking at the past. So, like, you can predict somebody's death based on somebody who died 200 years ago that was born on the same date under the same moon, blah, blah, blah.
And the funny thing with all these books, like, he has all these books to prove that theory, but he talks to the nephew once and explains this to him. And all he uses is a zodiac calendar.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, with this, you were born on February 22nd. And he's just like looking at it, he's like, you were also born on the same day as this man who got choked to death. It's like, but you needed all these books to tell me that? It was just like weird. I'm like, what are in these books? What are these books? Like, I don't think there were many people that went through their lives, like, writing novelettes or whatever, explaining how you can predict the future by the past. Like, but anyway,
yeah, so Hillary freaks out. He's like, they're his books. Ingram bought them for him. And, like, so you've introduced all these characters into this story now.
Mm-hmm.
So now comes the actual reading of the will.
Yeah.
And Julie wants to go. She wants to leave. She wants nothing to do with it. She blames herself for Ingram's death.
And everybody else does, except Conrad, because he wants in them pants.
Yeah. And so the lawyer makes sure that Julie's there at the will reading because, surprise, surprise, Julie is the sole heir to this estate now.
Well, that's because he also wanted in Julie's pants.
Because he
you've given me much beauty in your time
changed
here,
the will. And that's why we had that scene earlier. They cover a lot of ground in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Not well, but they cover it.
So now the brother-in-law and the nephew are like, no, they changed the will. It's supposed to go to the nephew. And after they leave, the lawyer's like, yeah, there was a will. And they're like,
well, and during the whole time that those characters are there, the lawyer is treating the nephew and uncle like they're garbage.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, those are wild accusations. I don't know how that would ever hold up in a court of law. You might as well just stop this charade right now. And da-da-da-da-da. They leave, and he's like, I can help you.
Yeah, I can break this will.
For 2/3 of what you're going to get is what I will do for you. Like, that's a very small amount. I'm an idiot, you see.
And then he's like, I'm going to offer the same thing to her. So if you don't take it, you guys are fucked. So this lawyer, they play him as scummy as possible.
He's terrible. And he looks like a rat, too, anyway. So they're like, yeah, okay, we'll do this. Then it's like night. And for some reason, everybody's looking out the window at the mausoleum that he was just buried in, like put in. And there's a light on, which I didn't know existed in mausoleums in the 40s, but whatever.
It doesn't even look like candlelight.
Yeah.
It looks like somebody has like a fluorescent bulb in the mausoleum.
Just like Edison's in there like, I got it! So they run out, of course the light goes out as they're running to the mausoleum. It's the uncle and Conrad are going out. And all of a sudden they're acting like they're like the best friends. I don't get that at all either. So they get in there, then there's accusations thrown around and they leave.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just remembering this part now. So everybody basically goes to bed.
Mm-hmm.
The lawyer's in his lawyer room working on his documents. And then he just hears his door, like, his knob on his door is like, jingle, 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 jingle. He's just like, that sounds like a disembodied hand trying to open my door. So the door comes open, and you actually see the whole rest of the arm that's attached to this hand. It's supposed to be like, oh, it's just a hand, over the edge of the door. Then it shuts, the door shuts, you hear it latch, and then it's just like him reacting all scared. Which if I saw just a hand crawling on the ground, I'd be like, I could probably step on that and break every bone in that hand's body and then throw it in the garbage. But he's all scared. You hear a scream. And then everybody else comes out of their rooms because then the piano's playing in the, foyer of the house or whatever area that is. The uncle and Julie are the first to come out of their rooms. They're at the top of the stairs. They're like, the piano's playing. That's so odd. Yeah. They rush down the stairs. Then here comes not Conrad. Peter Lorre's character.
Oh, Hillary.
Hillary. I don't want to call him that. Here comes Peter Lorre. He's coming down the stairs, just like, look! There's just this dead body behind this fucking, like, knight's armor statue, just, like, laying in the corner. He's like, the marks on his neck, they match mine when I was choked by him. It's just like, oh, well, okay.
Okay, so...
Well, you're not the one that did it then. So then there's more accusations thrown around. Basically, half of this movie is Commissario just blaming everybody that he comes in contact with, and momentarily even himself at one point. God damn it.
Yeah. It's a lot of, like...
It's a lot.
It is. It is a lot. You don't really know who to trust, because, like, there's no characters that really that aren't shady at this point. I mean, you're supposed to think that Bruce Conrad is shady, even though he really doesn't do anything shady besides selling fake antiques. But, like, everybody else, even Julie at one point, kind of comes off a little like, did she do it? Did she, like...
Well, because she was, like, when they introduce her character, she's so disinterested in everything he's doing. You think, well, he could have killed her. I mean, she could have killed him because she might have found out somehow that she was getting everything, whatever. Yeah. And wanting to leave was just her cover, because as soon as he's like, oh, well, you've gotten the house and everything, and she's like, well, I'm staying.
Yeah, real quickly that changed.
It's like they tried to write in that mystery angle with it, but it didn't work well, because it jumped to so many different things so quickly.
Yeah. That
you're just kind of like, it's a train wreck.
Yeah.
I'm just watching a train wreck. Like,
and there's a lot of times where, like, when they're investigating, it seems like it's the Commissario is letting, like, Bruce be, like, his second in command, because, like, there's the part where they go...
He's like, glass with a fingerprint.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take that. And he's like, good, because it'll be better you holding it anyway.
They go to the mausoleum, and they open up the casket, and they find that his hand's been removed, and that the blade that did it is in the other hand. They're like, he cut off his own hand. He wasn't dead. Well, no, first of all, there's a lot of things wrong here. There's no blood.
He had a stroke.
So that side of his body is paralyzed. Because even Conrad says that. He's like, well, he was paralyzed on that side.
How did he do that?
He wouldn't have been able to do it.
And there's no blood, which still, when you find out how the movie ends, that's still a question in your mind. You're like, well, how is there still no blood? That doesn't make any sense.
No.
But... So, and then Commissario takes the knife. He's like, oh, there's no blood. Conrad's like, oh, that's an astute observation. Yeah. You might want to make record of that. Yeah. I'm just like, who the fuck are you? You're not the cops. So, yeah.
And then the nephew, finds the safe, the hidden safe in the bookcase. And
which Peter Lorre is not happy about.
Yeah. He's like, first of all, he's touching his books. Yeah. And
that's a no-no right off the bat. That could get somebody killed.
Don't touch the man's books.
So he finds, like, the little secret button and pushes it, and he's like, how did you know about that? He's like, well, he showed me many a times. I actually know the jingle that's associated with the lock, but I don't remember it right now. He's like, get out of here now!
Like, so...
I love Peter Lorre in this.
So the Commissario is like kind of like he's like overseeing this is happening, and he's not getting involved. And then he hears the piano playing.
Yeah.
And like everybody's kind of like, well, the Don, the nephew, is like coming to the door from out of the library, like looking into the foyer, and that's when the hand comes up and chokes him for like 2 seconds and knocks him out.
Yeah, he's a real wuss.
Yeah.
Really wuss.
The Commissario comes over and, like, everybody comes in. And then Hillary comes in from outside. Like...
Yeah, I don't even know where they were.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell he was even at. And when... We're gonna get there. When you find out who did what, you're like, well, that doesn't make any fucking sense. So, anyway, yeah, he comes in from outside. And the Commissario is like, I saw it with my own 2 eyes. The hand tried to choke him.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Conrad's like, you fucking silly bitch. That's just retarded. Even though I was the one that went to ghosts first.
Well, the reason they kept going this way, because every time they find fingerprints, it's Ingram's.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so we already know that there's a hand out there floating around. Well, you can just take a hand and just go like, oh, put fingerprints here now.
Like,
but the Commissario's starting to think like, well, I gotta tell him in Milan that this is ghosts.
It's like, it's real ghosts. It's like, no, it's not ghosts.
So thank God Bruce Conrad was there, because otherwise nothing would have gotten solved. People would have died. Commissario did almost nothing until the very end.
So we're going to fast forward a bit here, because really, after the first death, it just becomes a really weaker version of the movie Clue. It's like everybody running around trying to figure out who killed who, and how this is that, and then accusations thrown all over the place. So then we get to, I guess we'll just go straight to the part where Peter Lorre's character is talking to Julie. Would that be the best part to get to?
Or, well,
should we back it up a little bit?
Back it up to where he confronts the hand.
Yeah. He's sitting at his desk in his library, and he just has, like, this cigar box or whatever on his desk.
Yeah, because he pulls the ring out. So it's like, okay, he has the ring now. Where did he get the ring?
Yeah, he's, like, looking at the ring like it's his precious, you know? Yeah. This box opens, and a hand starts very slowly crawling out of it.
Thing from the Addams Family comes out of the box.
Not a very good thing from the Addams.
Comes out of the box on the desk and starts walking over towards the ring. Very slowly.
Yeah, points his ring finger out.
And Laurie, puts the ring on.
Yeah.
And then grabs the hand.
Yeah. Grabs the hand.
And shoves it in the drawer.
Shoves it in his drawer. He's like... Then he runs up to Conrad and Julie's like, I got the hand. I trapped it. It's in my drawer. And they come down with him. He opens the drawer up. Of course, there's nothing in there.
Yeah. Conrad's
and then he's just raving. He's like, the hand. I saw it, the hand. He's just like going crazy. Conrad just basically like throws him in the chair. He's like, get a hold of yourself, you bastard. They leave. Mm-hmm. And then Conrad, the hand's crawling behind his books now. So Laurie's like, grabbing all the books, throwing them all over the place. He finds the hand again, takes it, and just fucking nails it
to a block of wood.
Like, he knocks, like, this thing off of, like, a mount. There was, like, a statuette thing or something. He just puts it there, and he just has nails in his drawer for his desk for some reason. He just fucking nails it straight down to this block of wood.
And this is one of my favorite parts, is, like, they're upstairs, and it's like, she looks, like, what is he nailing down there?
What is he nailing in there? Julie goes to bed, Conrad's just standing at the top of the stairs, and then you just see Peter Lorre, like, come out, like, sideways out of the door. He just, like, looks up at him and slowly, like, walks up the stairs looking at Conrad the whole time.
I thought that was kind of a cool scene.
The hand. I got the hand.
Conrad's like, that's good.
Yeah, Conrad's just looking down at him, he's like, okay, that's good. He's like, it won't bother anybody no more. He's like, excellent.
Go to bed.
Like, yes, sleep. So that was like the fun. And then I started making jokes. Like anytime anything came up that was going to be bothersome, he's like, I'm going to nail it to the fucking ground. The piano's playing again. I'll nail you to some fucking wood.
So Don and I can't even remember Arlington. The brother-in-law and the nephew, they're going to the safe because they're going to find the original will. So they go in and they open up the safe, and there's the hand nailed to a block of wood laying in the middle of the safe. So
the very eccentric nephew is just like, just runs out of there. He runs past the graveyard, gets to the mausoleum, and he's like, ew, dead people. He runs and just like faint falls onto like a boulder. And then Conrad's chasing him. He's like, I found him. He's okay. He's still a little gay, but I found him. It's just like, then that cuts from that.
Yeah.
Goes back into the house.
To Hillary and Julie.
Yeah. He's just like, he comes up the stairs and then Julie's just like, I know it was you.
Yeah.
You're the only one that has anything to benefit from this. I know they talked about taking your books and yada, yada, yada. He's like, if you give in, I'll do everything in my power to make sure you get your books. And he's like, don't let me have my books. In jail, I can have my books. And then he's just like, oh, you can't do that for me. I don't trust you.
You know too much.
You know too much. And he's just like, he goes to like strangle her. I forget, she just gets out of it somehow. I don't exactly remember.
Oh yeah, she breaks away from him and goes back to her room. And then
only locks one of the two doors of the room.
And then he sneaks in behind her, and she gets up, and she's just like,
I saw the hand.
It was the hand.
You're right.
The hand all along. I saw it.
You need to stop it.
Yeah.
Save us all. Blah, blah, blah,
Save
blah.
us from the hand.
He's just like, yes, I will do. I will destroy the hand. Yes. And he's very slowly, still talking to himself, walks back down into the library where he
tries to burn the hand in the fireplace. Well, he's imagining the hand is on the piano at this point.
Yeah, that's right. It's playing the piano. The movie decided to go, it did like this back and forth transition between him seeing this and imagining it and her like looking down and it not playing music. It did it like 5 times. I'm like, I got it on the first switch over.
There's another point later in the film where it kind of does a similar thing again, but
it goes like,
crazy guy, same woman. Crazy guy, same woman.
You got it? Yeah, okay. So he goes down. He sees the hand there and he just like grabs it. He's just like wrestling this hand.
And like there's like the hand is like tapping him on the chest. You know there was a guy that had to like...
Yeah, so because he shuts the door and there's like this upward camera motion. This hand's just like... and Peter Lorre's just standing the whole time like... hand. Nail it to wood. So he walks this hand over and just throws it in the fireplace.
Yeah.
The hand's just sitting there, and you can see the, they shouldn't have stayed on this effect for too long, because you could see the rubber prosthetic hand that they put in there was starting to bloat from the fire. Yeah. But then eventually it just comes walking out of the fireplace.
Starts climbing up him.
Yeah, and then chokes him. He falls over, dead, presumably. And the hand just vanishes. And I looked at Will, I was like, I have several questions. I'm like, can you die from imagining being choked to death?
Yeah, because that hand didn't exist, because the hand's still in the safe nailed to a block of wood. This is an imaginary hand that he saw that was playing the piano. So he died via imaginary hand. So
it's so horribly written.
So the way they tie it all up is...
Oh, this is great too.
She signs over everything to the brother,
nephew. And
she doesn't want anything to do with it. She wants to go off with Conrad and live happily ever after wherever they go.
He's selling fake antiques. Yeah, it's good living.
Yeah. So they come to some sort of an agreement. Meanwhile, the commissario is still wandering around, and he finds that there's a string hidden behind a curtain that if you pull it, it plays a recording of the music that they thought was coming out of the piano.
Which was in the night statuette directly outside.
Yeah, where Duprex was laying dead behind it earlier in the film.
And then this is where I got even more confused, because I was like, okay, well, we saw Peter Lorre's character the one time come in from outside, so he wasn't in the library to pull the cord to make the piano play.
He could have gone out the window, I guess, but...
There were a lot of open windows in this movie.
Yeah, and then also I'm like, Peter Lorre was the one that bought the I don't even remember, the thing that plays wax cylinders. I can't even remember the dictaphone.
Gramophone?
Right. Gramophone.
Yeah.
He bought it and put it in the suit of armor because he had planned this out all along to, like, keep the house somehow. He was like, well, I'm going to kill the lawyer, and then I'm just going to make everybody think it's Han, and they'll leave me here with my books. And so he does that, and the commissary was explaining it. He's like, yeah, he set this all up, but then he went crazy. And I'm like, well, I can't imagine he wasn't crazy to begin with, so what really pushed him over the edge? Well, Julie was really the one that pushed him over the edge. Like,
because she came in and he, like, the guy she was taking care of, he just gave her all his attention because he's just like, oh, you're a beautiful woman, and what's it gonna take? And then Laurie's just over there every day, just like, but the books.
That's what we really need to be concerned about.
You don't let me read you stories anymore. We're not bros like we used to be.
Yeah, so, and then we have a very awkward, overly goofy ending where the commissario, like, there's a glove that one of the servants thinks is actually the hand, and then, like,
he picks it up and he breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah, he breaks the fourth wall like 3 times
Yeah, he just looks at the camera and he's just like, oh, a haunted ghost hand. How silly would that be? And then he walks out, gets to the door, and it's just like, turns around and looks again. He's like, oh, it was my hand the whole time. And then Warner Brothers logo comes up like, fuck you.
I'm just like, what the hell? This film goes all over the place, but I don't think it should have been called The Beast with Five Fingers. I think it should have been called Peter Lorre Yells for an hour and a half. Because, my God, he had to have been exhausted after filming this.
Should have just become the Screaming Librarian. Like,
and Peter Lorre is a very good actor, but holy crap.
Yeah. That 20 to 30 minutes toward the end where they're just like, all right, you're going to scream all your lines. And it's just like, oh my God, you're going to kill me.
You're going to scream all your lines, and then there's going to be times where you just kind of like talk them very softly.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get real loud again.
We're going to basically make you this generation's Christopher Walken.
So, The Beast with Five Fingers is an interesting movie. I stumbled upon it watching late night Turner Classic Movies back in the day, and it's interesting. Matt did not like it.
You know, to watch it as like a horror movie, it fails miserably. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I don't know, most of those movies from back in that time, if you rewatch them nowadays, you're like, you know, I could see maybe back then because these kind of effects were like amazing and it was like something nobody would ever see.
Pretty awesome effects with the hand for 1940s.
Yeah. So that's, you know, back then it probably was scary, but like nowadays you see something like that and you're like, this is goofy as shit.
Yeah.
But that aside, it just wasn't scary in the fact that it just, there wasn't anything there that would make you like shiver in your boots or, you know, and when they did the kooky ending to it, that just ruined the entire thing.
That felt like it's so tacked on.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Like, it's like Jerry Carroll Nash just decided, I'm just going to end this goofy like this. That character, the actor that played that, he's like, I'm just going to improv the ending, and it somehow just got put onto the film.
Yeah. I thought that was like after, like they said cut, and he did that part with his hand. He's like, oh, how crazy would that be? And they're like, still rolling. Forgot to hit the button.
Oh, well. Sign it out.
That was the last bit of film we had left. We can't do a reshoot. He's like, oh, you can't seriously be putting that. And it's already on the truck.
So, yeah. So it's worth watching if you want to see some early interesting effects with you know, prosthetics and puppetry.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And Peter Lorre, my God.
Yeah.
I'll watch anything Peter Lorre's in just for that.
If you're a Peter Lorre fan, which I guess there are some people that just look for his movies, I'd say this is really good. Like, he does a great job in it. The movie itself isn't, but he, you know, he's probably the only thing that made me give this movie like a 3 or a 4 out of 10. Because, like, without him, this would have been the worst. Like, it felt like it was 3 hours on its own.
Yeah.
Because there's only like 2 deaths in the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like I said, I would give it a 4 out of 10. It's not great, but you know what I mean? If you go for it being a horror movie, it's shitty. If I'm looking at it as something that is funny as shit to watch because of its like ridiculousness, it's an 8 out of 10. Like, it's funny as hell. Like, it's one of those like bad that it's good kind of things.
And I'm going to split the difference and go 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
So there you go.
There you go. So that was The Beast with Five Fingers. Now, the next episode we'll have up will be my favorite Halloween movie, Jason Lives. So, which is also goofy as shit.
Yeah, it is also very goofy and breaks the fourth wall at times.
So that'll be it for this episode. Like I said, Jason Lives next. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.